barely going to scratch the surface of the debt, sadly. Initially, the Glazers have said they would use all the proceeds to pay down the debt. Now, as you say, it's only half. All the costs of the IPO are going to be borne by the club, and when you work through all the numbers, it will reduce the debt from 425 to around 350. It will save around £5 million a year in interest. That's barely enough to buy a new trainee for the academy.
The club is £425 million in debt, and yet Alex Ferguson, the coach, is clear that whenever he's wanted money to buy a player, it's always been given to him. This debt is not affecting the club.
Well, what we found out in the prospectus last night is that he and other senior management will be entitled to a share of 16 million shares. That's $288 million worth of shares and share options. So I think we now know why Sir Alex was quite so in favour of the Glazer family.
Why is Manchester United being listed in New York?
Because they want a structure where the shares that they hold, the Glazers, get 10 votes per share, and the shares that the investors want encouraged to buy get 1 vote a share. In other words, they keep complete control. They wouldn't be allowed to do that if they listed here in London.
They're selling 10% of the club. How much control will the Glazer family retain?
Well, because of that weird voting structure I just mentioned, they'll sell 10% of the club and they will keep 98% of the votes.
What about the price? Control. What about the price of these shares? $20 a share, £13 a share. You're a fan of the club. Would you pay that for Manchester United shares?
It's an extraordinary valuation, and I think they may well struggle. It values the whole football club, as you say, at around £2 billion. This is a football club that made profits of around 95 EBITDA. This is cash profits, around £95 million, 20 times profits. That's a very extreme valuation.
But what you're buying is enormous potential. 659 million fans. That's what the club says it's got. That's doubled in the last 5 years since the Glazers took over.
Yes, if you look at the small print of that, it turns out some of those are fans of other clubs as well. So I don't think we can put too much store by that. You're buying potential. Well, are you? Because the profits actually fell 15% last year as United had a terrible season on the pitch, particularly in Europe. So football clubs are volatile. I think most savvy investors will be very wary of this offer.
How do you think this will affect the club's ability to perform next year when you take into consideration, I suppose, the resources its great rival Manchester City and Chelsea have got, the sugar daddies, respectively, in Russia and the Middle East?
It won't help at all, and it's a wasted opportunity. They should have floated a larger element of the club, they should have given 1 vote per share, and they should have let the fans take part.